Good morning, all. It's a wet and rainy Saturday and quite windy too, by the sound of it. I could hear the rain lashing against the windows just now, blown by the wind. Right, I'm going to have problems today because my mouse keeps sticking. I think the battery is running down on it, so all of a sudden I go to move the mouse and it just sits there on the screen, not moving. Bit of a pain, but we'll get around it. We'll work around it. Right, hang on. Click on there for a second. Right, so we had lots of comments this week, but only 7 coordinates. But that's okay because we can see what people are thinking. There's a cluster around this area here. Everybody seems to be thinking the same. I say thinking the same area. I mean, there's hundreds of pixels apart from the left to the right, obviously. Where was I? I think I was in the middle there somewhere. Yeah, there's mine. There's mine flashing there in the middle. And as it's in the middle, that means it's going to be near the average, of course. So let's draw some lines we'll go from the fella at the back. And we'll go to the bottom one, to the top one from there. Not that wide a spread, considering there's a distance, from there. And then this chappy here. Where should we go? Down there. And his other eye will go up there. So yeah, not a massive spread, not a gap width from either of the players there. And everybody seems to. I thought someone would have gone a lot nearer to this player. I didn't necessarily think that was a good idea because, like I said on Tuesday's video, there seems to be no sense of urgency from these players, like as if, well, the ball's on its way, let's just wait till it gets you. So I think people seem to be thinking the same, and they've left a fair distance from him. So I think anywhere around there, I think the average is quite good actually. We know what it's going to be. In which case, let me get that average down there. So where are we? Crosshair. Calculate average. Paching, there it is, and it's 3602.1247. So let's go back to where mine is. Let's see. I'm very close to the average, and that was my first rough guess of the week. Now, is there any point me moving that? What am I to gain from that? Probably nothing, because if your cross is a reflection of how the judges see it, then some are going to go further to the right, some are going to go further to the left, higher, lower, etc. So I'm tempted to just leave it where it is, Mart, because you're going to gain nothing by moving that. And if you move that away by 2 or 3 pixels just to get a bit closer to where you think the average is, because you think the average is good, then you could be moving it away from the winning spot. Talking about myself in the third person, yeah. I just noticed somebody is very close. Now, can't remember who that was. I could if I looked it up. Somebody's very close, even closer than me to the average there. So I doubt they'd want to move it. But yes, like I said, if that's a sign of what people are how people are seeing this, then I'm in a good spot there. So I've got nothing to gain by moving it. Let me get the target down. But so somebody mentioned about the target being off the edge. Yeah, target doesn't really matter if it goes off the edge or not. It just happens to be a big target, and it'll cover the winning cross. And if it goes off the edge, it goes off the edge. But that average there, look, it all fits in there. I've seen them before where this outer ring has been outside of the picture, and sometimes covering the heads of the players. See, that's not a bad average there. I think looking at both them players there could be looking at the center of that target. That doesn't look bad at all. Quite like that. And I'm going to play for that J-Coup this week. I've seen a couple of them J-Coups that have passed me, and I've thought they were Range Rovers until you see this big J-Coup sign on the back. And it's only 75 pence a ticket this week. And it's the 1.6 petrol engine one. But it's all right. Cheap tax, big car, a bit bigger than I would want, but yeah, bugger it. I'll go for that this week. They can bring that to me on Tuesday. Right, let's move on to rev comps then. I got nothing for Monday's draw. Nothing at all. Nothing caught my eye. Nothing was cheap enough with good enough odds. Then we went to next Thursday's draw. The only thing I liked the look of there was, that's a temptation, the Audi R8, because it's 250 a ticket and £90,000 cash alternative, but 70,000 tickets, so it's a bit of a tricky one there. This Audi RS4 Quattro, look, a Scandi flick. It's the actual one that Clarkson used in the episode, a Scandi flick on the Grand Tour. The very one, all being sort of restored and done. I'd be tempted to that. That would be great fun. I think if I had a garage and somewhere to keep it, that would be a go out and play on a weekend car. But other than that, I'm not going to play for that. You know, I like the auto draw ones, and there's only two on there. ST line, yes, it's the 1 litre 3-cylinder. I love these. I'm a big fan of Ford ST lines. I'm a fan of the STs as well, but there's usually more ST lines than the smaller engine ones. That's the same engine and transmission that would have been in my Ford EcoSport that I won on you 2.5 years ago. What else we got? Mini Countryman Cooper S exclusive. Exclusive. Only £2 a ticket. Higher odds though, 20,000 tickets. I haven't got much else apart from, if you go on the giveaway guys website, now we know there's a couple of us, myself, and I think Ben said he's gone for this one as well. Bit of a cheek, Ben. You've just won a bloody car on BOTB. Better not be winning this one. But yeah, Swift Trekker X, my favourite camper van at the moment, and a Volvo XC40. You have got a choice with that as well. You can take one and cash, or both of them and 10 grand, or cash alternative altogether. Something caught my eye this morning, about half an hour ago. Oh, hang on. Well, we'll come to that in a second. Because I do like these Jibneys all grips. I think they're a bit of fun. A 1986 Porsche 911 Carrera plus 5 grand. Now, I'd like that, because I've mentioned it before, that in my youth, when I was a silly young chap, I had two friends, both brothers, and their parents had a company. And one of them had a black one of these, and the other one had a black Targa top one. And they used to like to get drunk all the time, most nights, because they had plenty of money. So I used to drive the Porsches. So I'd be 20 years old, bit of a dickhead, driving around in these Porsches at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Never put it on its roof, in all fairness, although there were a few police chases. But in those days, police cars didn't have the support they've got now, and they didn't have anything fast enough to keep up with these things. So if you were coming back from the casino at 4 o'clock in the morning, you could just outrun them. But what caught my eye this morning was this Volkswagen Touareg. Now, if I click on there and open it up a bit, try and center it in the screen. Now, I initially wouldn't have gone for something like this. All right, Volkswagen, nice cars, reliable, etc. But it wasn't the sort of thing I would go for, because they're expensive to buy. And when I looked at the spec, you scroll down there, you probably can't see much of that on your screen. And it's the a 3-litre V6. I thought, oh, that's going to be expensive to the tax. That's going to be over 40 grand, so £620 a year road tax. Insurance isn't going to be cheap either on this thing. But of course, when you look at the ad, it comes with 3 grand cash, which you would usually use to tax and insure it. But they're also supplying 3 years insurance allowance up to £1,000 a year, and 3 years road tax. And it's got a warranty for the next 3 years anyway. So your tax, insurance, and warranty, you're all covered. So it would be sort of cash free apart from wear and tear. Motoring for the next 3 years. And I thought, oh, okay, that is, you can take 48 grand cash alternative, but I thought that's still a bloody good deal. You wouldn't have to worry about tax and insurance for the next 3 years, or MOTs anyway, because it's a new car, more or less. So I thought, yeah, it's interesting. Let me put that registration number into Parker's spec check and see what it says. And it says 4-wheel drive, excellent, auto. the 3 litre V6 is a diesel. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be a petrol. 281 brake horse, 6.2 seconds 0 to 60. Nice. High insurance group though, 45. This surprised me. Price when new, when this particular vehicle was new, 75,905. So a £76,000 car, more or less. So no wonder the road tax is going to be £620 a year for the first 5 years. But I mean, it's 4-wheel drive, it's fast, not particularly economical, 33 to 34 to the gallon. But if everything else is getting paid for, I'm sure you can cope with that. So I went down, had a look at the performance. 600 Newton meters of torque. Jesus, this thing would go up the side of a wall if it would stick to it. So I thought, oh, do you know what? I might actually play for that. I might get a ticket or two for that. Not the sort of thing I would go for normally, but I might get a ticket or two for that. The trouble is, there's a 48 grand cash alternative. And when it comes to it, if you had the phone call and said, yeah, you can have this lovely car with all the bills paid for the next 3 years, or you can have 48 grand in your bank account by tomorrow morning. That's a tough choice, isn't it? That's a tough choice. You can do a lot with it. And do you need that much value of a car sitting outside the house? In my case, no, I wouldn't use it enough. And that's a problem to have a 48 grand, car, perhaps sitting outside the house, just sitting there doing nothing when I could be doing more with that cash. But there we are. I've waffled enough about that. So I think we've covered everything. Right, that's it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and good luck. Let's hope Christian comes to one of us on Tuesday.